Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the other side of the corner and welcome to a very special edition of your latest Chelsea news. Andrey Santos. Andrey Santos is a player we must talk about him on a regular basis actually, because he is now hitting levels that warrants focus on him. Now, look, a lot of you guys, along with myself, we've got a lot to complain about when it comes to this ownership, when it comes to this directorship. If you logically think about a lot of things, we've got lots to complain about. But having said that, in isolation, I believe there are times where we can praise as well. And this is, I hope, all of those numpties that we see in the comment section or in the live stream sometimes, I hope they can understand how we can be very balanced. When there is praise that needs to be accoladed, we will do that. We will do that. And in this instance, more than you can believe, we will do that. Andrey Santos, ladies and gentlemen, the ownership, the current directorship, take a bow. Absolutely take a bow, because you have struck gold. You have literally struck gold. This kid, we have done absolutely everything correctly. Yes, the Nottingham Forest loan, that didn't work out, but the intention was right. This is what you want to see. This is how you build a young talent. This is how, the multi-club model can be very, very beneficial. I see it. I understand it. But the problem is you need to make sure Chelsea's looked after as well. I think a lot of us can celebrate this moment even a lot more, knowing that we've got a superstar in making. We could celebrate this situation a lot more if Chelsea Football Club right now, the current situation was looked after. If we had a squad that was balanced in amongst, your talented young players, but there was enough experience at the highest level, and we were serious in the Premier League, we are serious in the European stage. Not talking about Conference League, that we're in Champions League and we're going for something big. We're serious in the domestic cups. In the Premier League, sure, we're top four, but you look at the fixtures that are coming up, and you look at the way our squad is built so far this season to compete, it's scary times. So if all of that stuff was being looked after properly, then something like Andrey Santos's news could have been celebrated even more. But having said that, this is a very good news for the ownership and the directorship. And I truly hope they don't get rid of this player. I truly, truly hope that they don't go back to their normal routine of getting rid of these players for, X amount of money, basically turning them into a new revenue stream. I hope someone like Andrey Santos can return back to Chelsea Football Club next season and become a very important part of the squad. And by that, I mean, don't dilly-dally around with him by being a squad rotational player. He's had a breakthrough season. In fact, he had a very good second half of the season last season with Strasbourg. And this season, he's killing it. He's one of the top midfielders in European football right now. In Europe. In fact, he's one of the top midfielders in the world. Stats are backing that as well. This season I'm talking about. Don't get ahead of yourself by saying, Miz said that, Andrey Santos is one of the best ones in the world. No, this season I'm talking about. And he seems to have the right temperament. He seems to have the right maturity for a young age. He seems to have his head screwed on correctly. Seems to take care of his body as well. Seems to have the right mentors. He was talking to Thiago Silva a lot, apparently, when Thiago Silva was with us. There's a lot to like about Andrey Santos, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look at social media, what's going on in regards to Andrey Santos, because there's a lot that is being said, and it's fantastic news. The other player that we want to talk about down the track is also Petrovic, George Petrovic, the goalkeeper that was deemed as surplus to requirements by us, sent to Strasbourg to get a nice loan move there, and it's working out brilliantly for him as well, to the point where he's also turning out to be a very good goalkeeper. I still need to see a lot more from him. Being a goalkeeper in Ligue 1 and being a goalkeeper in the Premier League is two different things. Now, you could apply the same thing for Andrey Santos, but Andrey Santos as a midfielder, Ligue 1, when it comes to physicality is probably the same, especially in midfield, I'd say, in terms of Premier League. There are a lot of physical players in Liga, but obviously quality up front is different. Quality in the box is different, set pieces and whatnot. So look, big up to Petrovic as well. Don't get me wrong. Apparently his ball playing ability has improved, his shot stopping ability, all of that has improved. So look, next season we want to try and compete for the Premier League. Well, that's what we really should be aiming for. Whether that is a reality or not, that's a different story. But we can park that conversation about Georgievich. I think there's something. George Petrovic. I combined both the names together and made it Georgievich. But Petrovic is something that we can talk about down the track. Now, let's have a look at Andrey Santos. Many commentators, pundits, journalists out there talking about him. Andrey Santos just scored his 9th goal of the season in Liga for Strasbourg on loan from Chelsea. He's returning to Chelsea in the summer as part of the squad plans for next season, as he will be ready for Club World Cup. Fantastic. Can't wait to see him ball out for us. Can't wait to see him join Chelsea, go to Club World Cup and feature in that competition. I think that will be sensational to watch. He's absolutely doing well. Julien Laurence, ladies and gentlemen, French journalist. Andrey Santos with another huge performance for Strasbourg tonight against Lyon. By the way, Strasbourg as well. Can they make Champions League? They're only a few points away now. We're thinking about maybe Conference League, Europa League. They're in contention for Champions League. Can you imagine Strasbourg making Champions League ahead of Chelsea themselves? So, look, that'd be incredible. And that's another topic we'll talk about. But yeah, yet another huge performance for Strasbourg tonight against Lyon. So no Mickey Mouse. Lyon's been pretty good this season. So this is not some sort of a Mickey Mouse opposition. Another goal, his 9th already in the league this season. Ball recoveries, Jules one of the best midfielders in Liga. Chelsea have a special talent. And yes, we do. Undoubtedly, we do. Andrey Santos versus Lyon, 1 goal, 32 passes, 88 pass accuracy, 1 out of 1 successful dribble, 3 tackles, 1, 2 interceptions, 2 clearances, 7 out of 11 duels, 1, 20 years of age, an incredible midfielder in making. And yes, it is. As I said, we've struck gold. Kudos to the ownership. Kudos to the directorship. You've done well. And you deserve applause for this. And as I said, in isolation, you deserve applause. And this is going to happen. The hit rate, you're going to buy all of these gems. Not everyone's going to turn out to be a gem. The hit rate might be, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10 maximum. But this is how you develop. Send the player on loan, develop, slowly mature, and then comes back. So I hope we can do that with all the young, talented players that we have. So let's see what the future of Andrey Santos brings. I hope we don't screw this up. I really, really hope we don't screw this up. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. This season, Andrey Santos, 25 matches played, 9 goals, 2 assists as well. And look, he's a central midfielder, defensive midfielder. Like he does it all, as we saw this on the stats over here. Interceptions, clearances, duels. Like, this is fantastic. This is absolutely fantastic for us. This is what we need. We need a player that is going to be very combative in midfield and equally be able to join in attack and score goals. So great. And to think that we could potentially have a great combination of Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, and Andrey Santos. Look, I don't know what the future of Romeo Lavia looks like. He needs to first sort himself out in terms of his injury issues. And then, look, there could be a quartet of excellent midfielders with Santos, Lavia, Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez. Hopefully we can make it into Champions League, and then there will be enough games for everyone to rotate around and get enough starts as well. You have to make them feel very important. So hopefully that's the case. I know I would like to see Andrey Santos start a lot of games next season. And the only way you can do that is you got to be in important competitions. You got to be there, vying for winning trophies. So look, great stats from Andrey Santos, defensively and offensively, tremendous. This is a player, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we bought him for 12.5 million euros. That seems to be the price as per transfer market right there from Vasco da Gama. And we have struck gold. We have absolutely struck gold. He's doubled his money, apparently, as per um, uh, transfer market, 25 million euros. Look, that's cheap. You'd think someone like Andrey Santos is minimum, at a bare minimum, worth at least 50 million now. 50 million at a bare minimum. But I hope we don't sell. There's rumors about Bayern Munich. There's rumors about this, that, the other. We need to ensure we have the right plan for Andrey Santos, and we give him that love, and we let him know that yes, you are going to be one of the starters, and I hope Enzo Maresca doesn't screw this up. Andrey Santos had the whole international break to be rightfully pissed for not being called up for Brazil. That's mad. I can't believe he wasn't called for Brazil. I really cannot believe it. You'd think someone like him, they could do with a midfielder like Andrey Santos. That's a big stuff up. And look, to then see Brazil get their asses kicked by their biggest rival, came out firing against a direct competitor for an European spot. So look, hopefully Brazil won't make this error anymore. They can make him a key figurehead in their midfield. They need a midfield general, someone who's good on the ball, someone who can be combative, and someone who can add goals as well. So hopefully in the near future, Andrey Santos is a permanent fixture in the Brazilian. So I was actually quite shocked that he didn't make it to the Brazilian team. Look, Estevao made it to the Brazilian team. Can't wait for Estevao as well. Hopefully he can produce the goods for us too. We can hopefully have a strong core of good, solid Brazilian players. There's that kid named Denner, left back player that we recently bought. Let's see what the future holds for him as well. And Strasbourg as a whole, there's some talented players there that we can look into down the track. And this is where the multi-club model really comes into frame. But as I said, there's no point in all of this if current Chelsea team is not built adequately to compete at the highest level. Andrey Santos, this is where the maturity really shows out. I hired a nutritionist, a chef, a physio, a physical trainer. Look at this kid, 20-year-old. I hired a nutritionist, a chef, a physio, a physical trainer. All this is bearing fruits. Love it. How many kids out there are doing this if you're serious about your career? This kid wants to have a long career and a serious career. Fantastic. Fantastic to see that attitude. And apparently, when he first arrived, obviously Thiago Silva was still at Chelsea football. He used to look at Thiago Silva as like a father. And Thiago Silva used to give him all of these tips, and he's now taking these tips on board. This is what I mean. Chelsea Football Club, we need figureheads like Thiago Silva. I hope, look, someone like Reece James can become something like that, be a bit more vocal and put his arm around these kids. I know Reece James himself is not some sort of an older statesman, but he's a veteran now, you can say. He's been around the blocks. And I hope he can manage some of these, young, talented players that we are getting. This is important for top athlete, even more so when he's playing in Europe. Great to see. Fantastic to see. Strasbourg. Now, let's talk a little bit about Strasbourg. Let me know your thoughts about Andrey Santos, ladies and gentlemen, in the comment section. How you feel about him? Do you think he is 100% deserves to be in the first team next season and deserves to start, perhaps? What would your midfield setup look like? Would you sell? And if you do sell, how much are you selling him for? Let me know in the comment section. Let's talk a little bit about Strasbourg. They're doing some madness. Liam Rossignol is getting noted. He's getting noticed. Strasbourg are unbeaten in their last 7 matches, 2-0 against Montpellier. Look at they're just one draw. And you counter that with what we're doing, Chelsea Football Club. I think, 2 or 3 wins in the last 12? It's saddening, absolutely saddening. And you look at Strasbourg, out of the last 7, 6 wins. It's not a surprise they're knocking on the door of Champions League window. Incredible scenes. Can you imagine if they make it to Champions League? I mean, what's going to happen if we make it to Champions League, Chelsea Football Club, and Strasbourg make it as well? That'll be some scenes, but I think it'll be even more embarrassing if Strasbourg make it. I mean, for Strasbourg fans, fantastic, but it's going to be quite embarrassing for Chelsea fans not being in the Champions League and Strasbourg being in the Champions League. Imagine we're in the Europa League and Strasbourg in the Champions League. Wow. Celebrations in the corridors after racing Strasbourg's superb victory. It's been a long time since we've seen such an atmosphere at Minau Stadium. Look, last season itself, they were all disgruntled. They were very, very happy. Now the fruits are showing, fans are enjoying it, and kudos to them. And I know a lot of people will say, look, Miz, shouldn't we be patient with Chelsea then? Looks like the model's working. Look, Ligue 1 and the Premier League are two different beasts. Ligue 1, there's only one proper team, and that's PSG, and everyone else is very much beatable. Premier League, if you don't have the right squad and the right, setup, you're gonna get demolished. It's not a joke of a league. So this is why you can't implement the same theory that you're implementing at Strasbourg to Chelsea. In fact, obviously Chelsea were implementing that theory, Brighton theory, initially, and then it was implemented on Strasbourg. Strasbourg fans didn't like it, but it's working for Strasbourg because of the league, the lack of competition in the league. You can do that with kids. You can't do that with kids at Chelsea. You simply cannot. You're going to get bamboozled in the Premier League. And we are seeing it. We're getting bamboozled. You can have a balanced team and have some talented kids amongst them, no problems. But you can't just have a whole heap of kids and just expect Chelsea to do the madness that Strasbourg's doing. It's just not going to happen. So that's my take on that. Strasbourg technical director Pascal D. Miachalk on Blueco model. Look at Petrovic, for example, came to racing playing at Chelsea last year. Wasn't easy to convince him. He has progressed. He's the goalkeeper. He's the goalkeeper who touches the most balls in Europe. The club where he will play next year will have a very good goalkeeper thanks to the racing project. And yeah, another very good story coming from Strasbourg. In fact, there's a lot of good stories, a lot of good players there. Their striker is really good. We've got Mamadou Sarr, who we've recently bought from Strasbourg. There's a lot of good stories. And look, I've been a bit skeptical about the goalkeeper position. If Petrovic continues to perform till the end of the season like this, yeah, maybe he deserves a start at Chelsea. But hand on our hearts, is this the type of goalkeeper that will help us, compete in the Premier League? Because next season we need to compete, right? That's how I feel. We need to compete for the Premier League. Are we going to be there? I don't know. We'll have to see what the summer window looks like. But maybe Petrovic deserves a shot. Maybe Petrovic deserves a chance to prove us that he is the top dog goalkeeper that is on the rise. So far, it's looking like that for Strasbourg. And kudos to him. Big up to him. As I said, he's improved his ball-playing ability and he's definitely gone up a notch in terms of his shot stopping as well. So big up to him. And let's see what the future holds for Petrovic. One of the two, Robert Sanchez or Jorgensen, one of them will have to leave. One of them will have to leave if we want to give Petrovic an opportunity and make him the number one Chelsea goalkeeper. Strasbourg technical director Pascal Dimachalk on Liam Rossignol. I repeat myself. What the coach is doing is amazing. With game-based training, it's a process. The new approach works well. Good. Look, Liam Rossignol, once again, if you can make it to the Champions League, I think he'll need to start be respected a little bit. And then it'll be interesting to see Strasbourg next season. Even if Chelsea don't make it, maybe we follow Strasbourg in the Champions League. We're going to have to. And it'll be interesting to see which players we send to Strasbourg, because being in the Champions League, you want to make sure Strasbourg has some, artillery, some firepower equipped. So, look, I hope Liam Rossignol can achieve Champions League. We're going to follow Strasbourg all throughout till the end of the season. Hopefully he can secure Champions League position. And wow, what a story that would be. He'll be noticed 100%. Already getting noticed. Southampton apparently looking for a new manager. And I hope he doesn't leave. I hope he stays with Strasbourg and he continues on with the Champions League story. Hopefully we get that next season. And it'll be nice to see how his growth happens at Strasbourg. And who knows? Maybe he's a future Chelsea manager. Who knows? Strasbourg coach Liam Rossignol. What Lyon did in the first half was very interesting. This is the first time we've faced this. There was a little readjustment to be made, and it worked. So it was 0-0 at halftime. I didn't get to watch this game. Saw some highlights here and there, so I can't really specifically say what Lyon did. I'm not really sure. If you've watched it, let me know in the comment section. For some reason, we can't get telecast in Australia for Liga. Ever since Mbappe left, that's it. No one's interested in Australia about Liga. Hopefully, we get some telecast back. But let me know what adjustment was, what Lyon did, and what readjustment Liam Rossignol made, because it worked, because Strasbourg ended up winning the game 4-2 and absolutely demolishing Lyon, who's not a Mickey Mouse club in League, especially this season. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about all of this. I mean, look, I like feel good stories like this. This is where I feel like, you know what, with all the sadness that Chelsea brings us, it's good to see Strasbourg doing something like this. And I hope Chelsea can one day come back to that level as well again. And it's good to talk about good stories, man. It's not good to be consistently unhappy at Chelsea, which is what it is. Which is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts. Smash up the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe. Hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Till next time, take care. See ya.